everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I'm Sam and we're still going on our quest to go through every single movie ever made and objectively rank the best to worst. And I'm joined, as always, kinda, by my amazing team. Amelia, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Joe, what's going on, man?
I'm not good, Sam, you know.
You're not good?
Not good.
Why, what's wrong, man?
I'm not. Nothing, I always say that I am good, so I wanted to mix it up this week. So,
Spicing
I
up
am
the
good,
relationship.
really. Yeah, exactly, so deep down I am good, but on the surface I'm not good.
Wow.
So,
Edgy.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Jacob is not joining us today, unfortunately. He couldn't be with us. We wish him all the best. Get well soon, Jacob. We love you, buddy.
Right.
Okay.
He's ill, by the way, that's why you said get well soon.
He's no longer with us.
He's no longer with us. Rip Jacob.
Next week we're going to resurrect Jacob. It's a seance episode of the Outtakes Movie Podcast.
God. Live on Instagram.
Yeah. Speaking of,
wow.
I should actually plug all the stuff in the show this week because I forgot to do it. You can follow us on Instagram by searching for The Real Outtakes. Same on Twitter. And if you're watching us on video, we have a podcast version on all your podcasting apps and sites. Just search for the Outtakes Movie Podcast. And if you are listening to us on the go and fancy seeing our beautiful faces, minus Jacob, you can search for us on YouTube by searching for the same thing. Okay, so this week it's Spirited Away, which was released in July of 2001. So I'm going to take us back in time, as I always do. We're going to have a quick look at what pop culture was like July 20th. And it's kind of, again, weirdness in pop, right? So number one is a very 2001 answer. I kind of want you to try and guess it. It's a bloke, by the way. That'll be the clue.
Okay, I was going to say Britney Spears.
I did that. Wait, were you saying number, as in like music-wise?
Yeah, number one in music.
Yeah. I actually looked at this literally just after we did last week's episode.
Nice.
And I forgot who it was. I have no idea.
No idea.
Robbie Williams.
Spot on.
No!
Spot on.
I
mean... no surprise, honestly.
Exactly. Really, really 2001. So Robert Williams with a song called Eternity, which I have got no remembrance of at all. But it was number one the week it came out. A little bit lower down, Ian Van Dahl at number 5 with Castles in the Sky. Like Your Spirit, but it's the wrong movie. Christina Aguilera at number 7 with Lady Marmalade. Shaggy is back at it again at number 10 with Angel. And S Club is in the house with Don't Stop Moving at number 23. So it's a weird kind of time in 2001. I feel like we're slowly climbing to that colourful, ridiculous pop nonsense of like the late 2000s, early to late 2000s. But we're not quite there yet. It's still a bit, hazy. Video games, on the other hand, 2001 was another incredible year for video games, and it was a good month for video games as well. One day before Spirited Away, Final Fantasy X would come out, and the world will be gifted that incredible. Have we seen the laughing thing from Final Fantasy X? This is a meme.
Don't think I have.
No.
Maybe I have, but
so if you just search like Final Fantasy X laugh, it'll bring straight up. It's a scene where the characters are fake laughing on purpose, and it is atrociously awkward. It's like,
I have seen that. I have seen that actually. Yeah.
So the world was graced with that. A couple days later, July 23rd, the first Max Payne would come out. That game is fucking sick.
What a game!
And
bullet time.
A week earlier, even July 16th. Jurassic Park 3, the DNA Factor for Game Boy Advance would come out.
Wow!
And I wanted to share this with you because what do y'all reckon a Jurassic Park game on Game Boy Advance might look like?
Tetris.
Top down. Tetris.
Tetris with dinosaurs, I think would have been far better. It was a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer.
God.
Yeah. And you'd assume, though, right, is so what it had really big dinosaur boss battles. And I'm going to show, unfortunately for audio listeners, you won't be able to see this, but I advise you to Google it. I'm going to show y'all, they had really HD sprites for the dinosaurs. You see the Spinosaurus there? Everything is like 8-bit.
Mad.
And then the Spinosaurus is like a fucking photograph.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
Mad.
Speaking of strange and bizarre things, Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away came out. Joe, tell us all about that.
Of course. Well, right, so Spirited Away. So it's released in Japan, like you said, 2001 in July. But the Disney dub was released to limited cinemas in September of 2002. And then it wasn't actually released here until 2003. So we're getting it 2 years after. But
remember when that used to happen all the time?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's. I remember going to America once, and there being a film out. Couldn't tell you what film. I think it was a Prince of Persia film. With bloody Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Do you remember that? Oof. I bought some Lego from that. It was beautiful. Oh no, right. I bought a Lego set from that Prince of Persia film. I did something atrocious with it. You know what I did? I used the minifigure. What?
Nothing.
Oh. Right, no. So, I'll say it was a couple months after I had the minifigure on me. I was at my nan's. I was quite into The Mummy at the time. And my nan's like, "Oh, I've got a film that's like The Mummy." And I was like, "Really, Nan? I'm pretty sure I've seen them all." And she's like, "Oh, you've not seen this one?" Whips out the Scorpion King with the rock in. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I watch it. It's atrocious.
Yeah.
But I'm really into the character design. And I just so happen to have a Prince of Persia minifigure on me at the time. So, man's combining pieces and making a bloody Scorpion King minifigure.
Oh my god, nice. So you made a minifigure of The Rock.
I did.
Out of Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's
Incredible.
Probably the only person to ever do it in the history of time.
Jesus Christ.
If it makes you feel any better, I then later got into Assassin's Creed, so I turned him into a character from Assassin's Creed, which I don't know how much better it is, but it's better. So, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, so Scorpion King, Sands of Time, whatever. But let's talk money, right? As we often do. I'm gonna get you guys guessing opening weekends and all that jazz.
Okay.
So, do they want to guess what the budget was for this?
I think I know it, and I think it was really low. I think I might be mixing up my budgets with something else, but I want to say it was like $5 million. I think it was like nothing.
Okay.
For an
I was
animated
going to
movie,
say
especially.
$3.5 million. So yeah, I thought it was quite low. I mean, I'm probably going way too low.
I mean, you were both going way too low, because apparently the estimated budget was 19 million.
Oh shit! Well, that's still quite cheap.
Yeah. It's still quite cheap, yeah, for like other films. But yeah, no, 19 million was the estimated budget. So I was telling you, Sam, before, I couldn't find the opening weekend, or opening for Japan when it first came out, the box office numbers, but I did find the American one for the 2002 Disney dub. Does anyone take a stab at how much they did the opening weekend in America, in North America?
I've learnt my lesson now after the past couple weeks, and I'm going to say these movies don't do very well in the cinema, typically, and instead pick up a lot more traction later. So it cost $19 million. I reckon it made money, but I reckon maybe it peaked at about...
This is opening weekend as well.
Only opening
Not
weekend?
The whole
okay, maybe
only opening weekend.
Okay, maybe it didn't make money opening weekend. $14 million.
I'm going to go lower.
Ooh.
I'm going to say opening weekend only got $6 million.
So, like with the budget, you're both way off. In the opening weekend in North America. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah. In the opening weekend, North America, it made $449,839.
Oh my god. So you started that number and I was like, oh my god, it's done incredible. And then...
Yeah. I think I did actually get something. I forgot to put it in my notes. But I saw it, it literally only opened in like 100 and like... It's either 114 cinemas or 141 cinemas.
That's still both quite low.
It's either them two numbers or I don't know what I'm getting fourth from, because all I'm remembering from that number is there's a one at the start and a one at the end. It's 100 and something though.
Right.
And it was low. So not a lot of cinemas in the whole of North America as well. So,
but that still
But yeah.
must have been considered like alarm bells, like, should we even be licensing these?
see, the thing with this film, though, is they did actually... It was in the Toronto Film Festival in 2002.
Right.
Like, literally, like, a couple of months before it was released in cinemas. No, the same month it was released in cinemas. I think it was Toronto. Anyway. Right, so final one, right? Do you want me to tell you what it made worldwide overall, or do you want me to just...
Yeah, go on, let us know.
Yeah, right, so worldwide, it made... God, it's a big number. $274,925,095.
Well, that is very good. That's very good.
That's very good, considering what Endgame's made most money ever, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's like 500 million or something, isn't it?
Billion.
So it's not. Oh, was it billion? It can't be billion.
Endgame's made over $1 billion. Yeah.
No, it didn't. It make like five. You know what? I don't know. I can't remember.
I think it made $5 billion. I think it made like $5 billion. Right.
Either way, overall,
but 200 million is almost always a good amount of money to, because studios aren't often, unless it's like a Marvel movie or a DC movie, you're not often spending over 100 million. Maybe your marketing budget is like half of what you spent, so you prop that up as well.
Well, they say, don't they, that you have your budget, and then for marketing, it's just the budget. You got to just double it essentially for your market as well. So but this is the thing. Disney didn't market this film like at all when they were releasing it. They just stuck it in some cinemas, and they were like,
there's definitely a weird attitude, I think, I don't know if it still continues, but in the early 2000s, there's definitely a weird attitude towards Ghibli movies from Disney, because you saying they didn't market it doesn't surprise me, despite the fact that I owned lots of Disney VHSs growing up that all had adverts for Ponyo at the start. Like, all of them. So I knew about that movie. You know?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that
one. I've
not actually seen Ponyo either.
Seen
the trailer.
Nor the information.
But yeah, right. So the next thing I was going to say, right, I don't know if... My note says some of you. It's just going to be you, Sam, because Jacob is absent. So I was going to say, so Sam, you may have picked up on it. What?
Does it involve the fact that they have a penis and they are male?
What?
No, it doesn't, no. It involves around the fact that you're Amelia. So... Just to give me a sec.
Just
right.
Quick, like a band-aid.
So,
rip it off. Say it quick.
Here we go. Right. So some of you, Sam, may have picked up on it. I know I've already had this discussion with you, Amelia.
Okay.
Because we talked about it the other day.
Oh, okay.
But Sam, did you recognise the voice of Sen in this film?
Sen.
The main girl.
I want to say
I don't know.
I want to say the thing is I can't remember if I fucking looked up the IMDb or not. Do you know what? I'm gonna say no. I didn't recognize it, and then I'm gonna kick myself in a second.
So the woman who does the voice of Sen, or Chihiro.
Chihiro, yeah.
Chihiro. There we go. Is a woman. Well, she was a girl at the time, but it's a woman called Devay Chase. And you may also know her as the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch.
Yo, damn!
Yeah. So, the thing of it is, right, you gotta think, Lilo and Stitch came out 2002 as well.
Yeah.
So my thinking is, they've either done one or two things. Which I assume they've made Lilo and Stitch first. They've been like, right, we've got this film as well, we need to dub it, we need a younger voice. She's already here, or she was really good in that, should we just get her back? Because they came out literally within months of each other. Yeah. Because actually, you know what? Saying that, because if you think they had to delay Lilo and Stitch because they had to change a bunch of stuff because of 9/11.
I mean, obviously, I don't have anything to back this up. This is pure speculation. Please don't sue me, Disney lawyers. But I wouldn't put it past Disney to cheap out. You know, finding some like loophole in a contract, which is like. These are technically the same project, you know, sort of thing.
Oh, no. Just attach them together.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm thinking they must have done her voice work for Lilo and Stitch in, like, early 2001.
Yeah, you'd think.
2000 at the latest. Because they were going to bring it out around September of 2001. Because have you ever seen that scene?
I mean, they've got to.
The
animators need the voice work anyway, so they can animate around it.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, they can. So the thing of it is, they changed. Sam, have you ever seen that? The scene that they changed in Lilo and Stitch?
No. The only thing I think I know from Lilo and Stitch is that there was going to be a scene of her yelling at tourists, and they cut that.
So.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah. Do you remember the scene at the end when they're in the big red ship and they're flying between the mountains?
No.
Very end. I don't know if... No. So, well...
But I can already start to picture why this might have been altered.
So, originally in the film, it was going to be they hijack a plane and they have to fly between the buildings in the city, whatever city it was.
Eesh.
So they changed it, remodeled it all, and made it so it's the spaceship flying between the mountains.
Yeah,
good call on their part.
Yes,
but that's what delayed it because they had to do all that. So it came out in 2002 instead of 2001. So I mean, I assume that's the reason because she was playing Lilo, and it's like, oh, we've got this over here.
Since
girl over here, let's just get her.
Since we were speaking about the Mummy earlier, I've just remembered, right? I remember my mum when I was young flipping her fucking lid, right, because. The Mummy, which one was it? It might have been the Mummy, the Mummy Scorpion King sequel, whatever it was called, right?
Return of the Mummy or something.
Mummy Returns, that was it, yeah.
What it was called? Oh, the Mummy Returns, yeah.
And there's a scene near the start in London where a bus crashes into a bridge, and it's like a double-decker bus, and it takes the entire top half off.
Oh, yeah.
And that aired on like ITV2 like a day or two after you remember the London bus bombings?
Yeah.
I remember. All the newspapers were showing that image of the wrecked fucking bus, and she was like, oh my god, I can't believe they've just shown that.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's not good planning on their part, is it? Madness. Mad. I mean, right, yeah. So... moving away from terrorist attacks.
Yes, wise.
There's one other person in the cast list for the Disney dub that I recognise. By the way, wait, which one version did we all watch?
The dub, the English.
Yeah.
The one on Netflix.
Yeah.
So the Disney one. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there's one other person I recognised on the list. A woman called Tara Strong.
Yeah, I know Tara Strong. Yeah.
She
been
does like Powerpuff Girls, and she's done literally everything.
She's Timmy Turner, isn't she?
I was about to say she's Timmy Turner, yeah.
She is, yeah. She does the voice of the baby in this. So, there you go. That's the only other voice that I knew. I've got like a bunch of different facts about this film. So I think in one of the previous episodes, we've actually talked about... I think we've talked about this in the other episodes. But the director... pronounce it Miyazaki?
Hayao Miyazaki, yes.
Oh, I got it right, yes. I've got like all the names like spelled how you say them next to the thing. We talked about in this other ones about how these films don't have scripts and how they just kind of draw the storyboards and then flesh out the story later on. They did that with this. And I find that there's certain scenes in this where you can kind of tell a bit, but it's still good.
Yeah,
but like it's not as glaringly obvious as some of the others.
I feel like
there's a few bits though. There's a few bits.
I feel like this is one where the theming was so strong that it was just gonna work. It was always you would have to like really go off the rails. Like I remember thinking little things like in the middle of the movie, I was like, oh, the witch that lives at the top of a golden fucking palace. That's obviously a metaphor for capitalism. And then I was like, hang on, Sam. You're like an SJW beta, low T beta cook boy. Obviously you think that. And then I Googled it and it totally is. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Mad. I mean, well, there you go. There's, it didn't have a script, and he's very open about the fact that it didn't have a script. I couldn't personally make a film without a script. Same.
Script.
I'm like, it's like my Bible when we're making a film. I'm like, someone wants to change something, I'm like, the script, and it's probably because I write the script and I'm biased, but
I feel like if you're writing something that's tight enough, you kind of shouldn't need to be changing things. Like I remember I remember hearing this story from Martin Freeman on the set of Sherlock, saying that apparently he would go up to Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat and point out entire paragraphs this big and be like, "Oh, I can do that. I can do that with a look." And I think it was Mark Gatiss that was telling that story, and I was like, Mark, you shouldn't be writing such easily removable garbage. It's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing, no. Oh, God, what was I going to say? Not.
Stuff about shooting me that script, couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do it, yeah. Okay, no, right. Speaking of actually the script, though, as well, there are actual there's instances in this that I picked up on it. I don't know if you guys picked up. I mean, you probably did. There's times in this where the characters say things so obvious. So, like, for example, when she first arrives at the bathhouse, she looks up and goes, "Oh, it's a bathhouse."
Yeah.
Like that. Or she's like, "Oh, they'll say the person's name, like, "Oh, it's this, this, and this." The reason that's in there is because it wasn't in the actual film. It was when the Disney were redubbing it, they were afraid that American audiences wouldn't get all the cultural references. So when she's saying things like, "Oh, it's a bathhouse," it's literally just Disney being like, "It's a bathhouse." If you were Japanese, and you would get it, but you're American, so you don't.
You're an idiot.
That's what they're telling us. So, I mean, they might do it with Britain as well, but American, you know what I mean? Okay, so the last thing I want to say is about the title. So I'm not going to say the actual Japanese title because I'll butcher it to high.
Wise.
But obviously, it's not called Spirited Away in Japan. So depending where you're from, you got a bunch of different titles. So apparently in other countries, it's either Spirited Away, or there's another one with Chihiro's Journey. That's another one. But apparently the original Japanese title translates to something like Hidden by the Gods, or Hiding in the Spirit World, or something like that. So
very on the nose.
Yeah, there you go. It is. I mean, when I was looking at it, I noticed that the words Sen and Chihiro are in the title. So it looked like it literally said something like "Sen to Chihiro" or something like that, but I don't speak Japanese, so I don't want to guess.
Is it this?
So yeah,
Sen to Chihiro. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not
exactly.
gonna
Yeah, I was like, I copied it in, and I was like, nope, not a chance. But yeah, there you go. That's all my facts. There's loads of facts about this film, but
Sen and Chihiro's spiriting away is what it translates
is it?
to. Yes.
Oh, so there is. Okay, fair enough. So it doesn't translate to the ones that I said, but it can do.
I mean, I just read that from Wikipedia, so you might be right. You know.
Oh, there you go then. Oh, well, there you go. So it is called Spirited Away in other places. Anyway, so let's actually get into the film. So, as I told Sam and Amelia before, I'm going to be reading from my notes, and I was taking the notes as I was watching it. So there's going to be some words that No, hold on. That sounds bad. No, let's back up. There's going to be names that I'm giving to people because I don't know their names yet. So you'll see. You'll see.
Oh,
anyway.
I should say as well before we get in. Last week I talked about how I originally had to watch this movie in school, and I was very averse to the idea of watching it, and that I would jump in with my 13-year-old's thoughts, right, of my angry comments. I can't actually do that as much as I thought I would be able to, because as it turns out, I watched this movie in a really odd way. Basically, like, my classes had been merged, so half the kids had already seen the first, 35 minutes of the movie, so we skipped, and then halfway through, we skipped again. Right? So I feel like even if I wanted to like that movie when I watched it in geography, there was no way I was going to be, do you know what I mean? So there's a couple of things that I remember thinking, but it's nowhere near as vicious and moany as I remember it being.
See, we did the same thing with Narnia in maths.
What?
Maths?
Right. It's a whole thing because...
Of course it is.
No, it gets really dark because a girl died in our year, in year 8. So we had the whole day off.
Oh, wait, no, you told me about this. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the worst part was she was in, a different set to us. So for some reason, we, as the top set, got the whole day off. It's, you know what, I'm not even going to get into it.
Did they get the wrong set?
I mean...
Schools are great.
It was... I mean, I don't want to say that it was a fun day, because it wasn't. I didn't know the girl, but I don't want to say it's a fun day, because it was really sad. But... we didn't do anything for the whole day, so that was nice. But before I incriminate myself anymore, I'm gonna let's get into the film. Yeah, so we start, don't we? We've got this family. They're moving into this new town. She's got the roses, and her dad's like, did the dad get the roses?
No,
The dad's someone else I recognise as well.
Is it?
The dad's Michael Chiklis.
I don't recognise that name.
The Thing in the Fantastic Four movies. The two in the early 2000s. The one in the suit.
What?
The old white guy.
Yeah. Michael
Mad.
Chiklis. Yeah.
Mad. Okay, I didn't know that. That's amazing. Oh man, what a guy. Well, there you go. The dad, the Thing, is driving the car with her lying down in the back.
Yeah.
Right. If either of you two did this in your parents' car, would your parents allow you to be lying down like that in the back of the car? My mum would snatch the flowers, but get off, get up now, put your seatbelt on.
Literally, yeah.
Like my mate had a go at me for doing it in his car when he got his car. So I wouldn't even my parents wouldn't even let me go near it. Anyway, so they're in the car. They're obviously sponsored by Audi because there's a very obvious Audi plant right there. They drive past some Smurf houses while looking for their own house. And they find themselves at the foot of a dirt road. I've got a lot of stuff like this in here, so it's going to take a long time if you're laughing at all of them. That's what I was saying before. At the beginning, I wasn't as invested because it had only been on for 10 minutes. Whereas later in the film, I start to become more...
I love that though. I love that. That's the sign of one of the greatest comedians of our age who has to say, "Hey, if you laugh at all my jokes, we're going to be here all night."
Yeah, well, there you go. See, that's how you start a good show. But yeah, anyway, so they come to the foot of a dirt road, don't they? Yes. And you see the house at the top of the hill, and they assume that this road is a shortcut to the house. Naturally. Next thing you know, you got the dad fast and furious around, down the roads. He's Tokyo drifting around the corners, and they come to this tunnel, don't they? And the dad's natural reaction, let's walk into it, straight out of a horror film.
Yeah.
He says, "Come on, it'll be fun." Famous last words. So they go into the tunnel, don't they? They realise it looks like it's made of stone, but it's made of plastic. So they all head in. She's all like, "No, I don't want to go in," naturally. They find a big room, which looks a bit like a train station, and they do actually hear a train. So naturally they head towards the sound, and then suddenly they are in Holland. Oh, no, no. They're in Disneyland, as they say. So the mum gets to not bring any lunch as they continue to trespass, and they suddenly start to smell food.
Yes.
So the dad, kicks he's dad mode kicks in, and he uses his nose to navigate through this abandoned town, and they find some stacks of food just laid out, and naturally think, yeah, go on, sounds good. I'll just eat this food. And what does he say? So no one's home, so they start tucking into the food, and they justify it by, what does he say? I've got it written down, yeah. He justifies eating this random food left out by saying, "Daddy has his credit cards and cash, so it must be fine."
Yeah.
I'm not being funny, right? If I walked into a Mackey's and found a Big Mac on a table and just ate it, and I said, "It's fine, I've got cash, I've got my card."
But if you walked into a Mackey's, it was completely deserted. No staff, no customers, no nothing. And there is 50 grand Big Macs on the table. Do you take one?
In that situation, I've never been into a Mackey's in my life where there's never been anyone in it. I mean, obviously the staff's always going to be there, but I mean customer-wise.
Because in this instance, there's no people anywhere. There's no shoppers. Exactly. There's no stall. Attendees.
Well, to me, right, I've seen horror films. I see food laid out. It's in an abandoned area. That sounds like a trap to me.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving. I'm not taking anything. I'm going.
That's poison.
Fine. We'll stop. We'll go to Subway on the way. I don't want I don't want anything to do with this. That's my philosophy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm going to take that into life. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. Obviously, the the girl, she's concerned naturally, so she like fucks off and goes start looking around, leaving them to eat. She goes as a mosey around and she finds the bathhouse, doesn't she? She's like, oh my god, it's the bathhouse. And she looks over the bridge and the train goes under. She's like, oh my god, there's the train. And then some geezer shows up, running at her. She's like, go away. We're telling her to leave. So literally, right, I was baffled by this because as soon as that happened, like shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
So quick.
Yeah.
Shit goes on. Ghosts start appearing, and like her parents have like turned into pigs. And then some ghost appears and like KOs her dad from behind the counter. And I'm like, what's going on? I was like, whoa, what's going on? Well,
this is. I'm pretty sure there was like a quote from Miyazaki that like reinforced my like anti-capitalist thoughts, that the reason for the cash and credits cards line and everything is because they are literally turning into consumerist pigs.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it. They're eating all the stuff for free.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was baffling me. I was just casually typing as I was watching. Next thing you know, I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? It blew my mind.
I skipped forward.
I was like, did I miss something? What's happened here? But yeah, no, anyway, ghosts start. Yeah, I always said that bit, haven't I? And then all of a sudden, there's crowds of ghosts, and there's a massive river's appeared, blocking the path back to the car. And then she realizes she's now like see-through, like the other ghosts. Just as a steamboat pulls up, and some pieces of paper come off it and turn into people. At this point, I had to pause it because I was like, right, what the fuck has happened? What's going on? I had to take a moment to let my brain reset and make sure that I hadn't, accidentally taken drugs or something. Because it literally...
Accidentally?
It was in 2 seconds. But yeah, I was like, right, it must be fair enough. So
I definitely feel, as someone who's never been a drug user in his life, I definitely feel like this would be a good movie to take drugs on.
Yeah, so much weird shit happens.
I'm not advocating for drug use, but if you're gonna do it, stick Spirited Away on. I'd stick Spirited Away on,
That would be funny.
See, the thing of it is, right, from what I've been told, when you do them, and you see things like this, you're going to get 2 reactions. It's going to be amazing, or it's going to be the worst experience in your entire life.
You're fucking terrifying.
It depends what kind of situation you're in, I suppose. It's like when you watch the Bohemian Rhapsody music video, and there's that bit where they're going, like that with all the heads. I imagine when you're high, that's going to like blow your mind, maybe, I don't know. But,
yeah.
Maybe, I reckon so. But yeah, no, anyway, so... she's all freaking out in the corner, and that geezer from before, who told her to leave, he shows up, running up the hill. He finds her cowering in the corner and tells her she needs to eat some food or she'll disappear. She eats a Skittle, and now she feels better again. So suddenly, there's this, like, eagle in the sky, and, like, the geezer tells her to be, like, stay hidden. So at this point, right, I was watching it with Beth. At this point, Beth paused it, and she said, and I quote, "What the actual fuck? Are they taking the piss? I know it's a cartoon, but they can't put a human head on a bird." And then resumed play. And I was like, I wrote it down. It was just no context. She paused it, said that, and then played it again. And I was like...
I can't just imagine her turning to you like, what the fuck?
Literally just like... She was in the egg chair as well, so she was just like... turned around straight away.
I don't know if this is like a thing in like Japanese folklore. It might be, right? But recently I've been playing a fucking sick-ass game. Persona 5, would recommend. Kind of hard to get into, but if you put time in, it's really good. And it's JRPG. And there's a boss battle in that where you fight a giant bird lady on top of a pyramid, and she's like 500 foot tall, and she's got like the body of a griffin and the head of a mum, and she's like the spirit of one of the characters' dead mums and keeps yelling about how she never loved her throughout the entire boss fight, and it is fucking dark and trippy as fuck. But that's two things recently that have come out of Japan that have had bird women in it, so maybe it's like a thing over there.
See, right. It's not just Japan though, right? Because you know what else put human faces on animals? Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
He did, and it's somehow, right, not creepy. If anything, it's quite like, oh, Dr. Seuss. Oh,
but everything, like, people in Dr. Seuss don't look like people, you know. People kind of look like apes anyway. Everyone's got that big.
I was gonna say even people in Dr. Seuss don't look like people. They've got really long arms.
But when it's this gloves. Because Yubaba in particular is so over designed and has so many wrinkles and lines.
She's so wrinkly it hurts.
And I love it, but having that on a bird is
it is pretty terrifying. But yeah, and then and every time it showed up, I could see Beth like clench, and she's like, "Oh, it's that fucking bird again." like when you've got a wasp in your room and it keeps reappearing, you're like, "Fuck off, leave." But yeah, yeah. So anyway, the bird leaves. The geezer tells Sen to chill out. I should probably tell you at this point in my notes, I don't know her name.
Chihiro.
So I keep saying her. I know now that it's Chihiro.
Yeah.
But at this point, I did not. So Geezer keeps telling Chihiro to chill the fuck out and get up when she complains about having like leg pains. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hold on, let's back up.
Pretty sure.
Why? Well, it says that in my notes, but I can't remember why.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain that we might have skipped, when I first watched it, we might have skipped around here. So for anyone who is struggling to keep up, the geezer Joe keeps referring to as Haku. I don't think you've named him.
I forgot to actually say who they actually are now that I know who they all are. Yeah.
So the geezer is Haku,
saying the geezer.
And I think the first time I saw him when I was really grumpy and I absolutely wanted to be watching like Gundam or something instead of this, I was like, who's this Jessie J looking motherfucker? I was not with it.
Wow, that's 2013 right there.
Yeah.
I bet she'd just come out with that song. What's that song? The Money one or whatever?
Yeah, the Money one, yeah.
Yeah, there you go, see? The times. Yeah, so anyway, they started again, and they start running through, what chases them? Is it the bird? Something chases them, doesn't it? Just something chasing them.
No. They're going to the bridge, aren't they? He's like, you have to get a job, hold your breath.
Don't they start skipping, though, like teleporting? They do, don't they? Do they not? Right, well, because in my notes, I've got, they start running and they use the flu powder from Harry Potter to portal around into a massive kitchen and some fella's freezer. I don't know why I've written that. I just remember there being a bit where they're running through a stable and then they're in the kitchen. And what happens is, for people who haven't seen it, Haku gives her this thing so that she's no longer a ghost. Then he tells her that they need to go to the bathhouse, and then they go to the bathhouse.
Yeah.
There you go. So we're caught up. Yeah, so they make it back to the bathhouse, and there's some like lizard people there to greet him, and she's instructed to hold her breath, or everyone else will see her as they cross the bridge. So then, it's going well. Is this where you very first see No Face as well?
Yeah, No Face spots her.
Yeah. He walks past his name. You very first see him, you're like, ooh, who's that? And they walk across the bridge, everything's going fine, and then some dickhead of a frog pops up, starts trying to talk to Haku, and she can't hold her breath anymore, lets go of her breath, and everyone loses the shit and starts like looking for her because she's like, oh my god, it's human in the spirit world, what's going on? So they go and hide in the garden, and Haku's like, we need to sort this out, because if you're caught, the witch is going to turn you into an animal as well. So just trust me, I'll sort this out for you. And he gives you, oh my god, it's in Welsh for a minute then. Tells her to go find the boiler man, because then he'll get her a job, and then she'll be working at the bathhouse, so, she's not just a human who's just wandering around anymore. So he leaves, and she tells him how to get to the tells him how to get to the boiler man. And then he drops this bomb Wait, hold on. Yeah. He drops the bombshell on us as the audience that he actually knows her and that he's known her his whole life, like a nonce or something. I don't know. Because I mean, she's like 12, isn't she? So I got the impression that he was like in his 20s.
What?
And I'm like,
he's a little boy as well. You know?
Nah,
he's older than her, but like maybe 14.
I got like
the most.
Nah, I was picking up like at least 19, 20 vibes from this person. Like, I was like, "Yee, what are you doing? She's a child." But he knows her, so I mean, it could be like a Big Brother thing. I assumed because. I mean,
she has been inside him.
Oh God! Don't. Right. Jesus,
I feel unclean.
Oh God. Ugh. Anyway, so he, he leaves and she starts crying again. But then eventually she gets back into. She's like, right, I'm gonna go to the boiler room, and she falls down some stairs and crashes into the wall at the bottom.
It's really funny. I
like that bit actually.
It's very slapstick. It's
actually,
how quickly she fucking hits it. It's great.
It's like it's really She like goes flat for a second. It's like like that, and then isn't there a bit like doesn't one of the frogs open a thing? And isn't he like French or something? He's like smoking. I remember making a French joke that I forgot.
Yeah.
He was a frog and he was smoking and he's French. Anyway, she heads into the boiler room where she finds the old like man who's like the engineer. No, he's the boiler man. I've got in my thing that he's the engineer, but I now know that he's the boiler man. I don't know his name, so I'm going to call him the boiler man.
It's yeah.
He does have a name.
Give me a sec.
Boiler geezer. That's what we're going to call
the
him.
geezer, the 8-legged geezer.
I was going to say,
yeah, there you go, spider geezer. Days. He does. Did anyone else notice? Right, he looks a lot like the engineer from last week's episode. You know, the husband of the pirate, the woman, the pirate, and her husband works in the engineering room. He's got that massive mustache with the glasses. He looks a lot like him, and I was like,
Kamaji, isn't it?
My thinking
Kamaji,
is
yeah.
Kamaji. Oh, well, there you go. Because I was thinking, right, when I saw him in the film last week, I was like, oh, I recognise him. I'm sure I've seen him at some point. But I actually think I'm recognising the boiler guy from this film, not the guy from last week, yeah. Because it's, 20 years difference between the... No, not quite.
So
when did last film come out?
You know how 88? We were... 86, Castle in the Sky.
86.
You know how you have your little theory about how Lilo and Stitch has affected this movie?
Oh God, have I not done research?
No. So the guy who voices Kamaji in the Disney dub is David Ogden Stiers, who plays Jumba in Lilo and Stitch.
So it's just the same cast, then, is what you're telling me, essentially. You know what? As we started doing today's episode, I was like, oh man, I should have seen if there was anyone else who was in both. Apparently there was. It might literally be the whole cast. Who knows? But yeah, anyway. So she comes down, doesn't she? And oh man, you know what I forgot to do? I wrote a plug for last week's episode in my notes. I forgot to say it. I'll just read my notes.
Yeah, do it now.
I'll do my whole note, right? She heads into the boiler room where she finds the old man engineer from last week's film, The Castle in the Sky. Available on our channel now. Go check it out. Oh, you know, it'd be so good if I had an actual plug. I'd be like, plug. But I don't, so. But yeah, anyway, so. Yeah, so, what the hell? Oh, yeah, so the mustache glasses combination.
Yeah.
So the Spider Boy tells her to, she needs to help. He needs help. Right, I'm reading my thing. I'm reading ahead too much. Let me just...
Yeah.
reset.
Focus, because he doesn't need work. He's got work.
He doesn't need work. That's what I've... Yeah. Right, so she goes in the boiler room.
Cute little soot sprite people.
Yeah, right. So he goes in and she's like, I need a job. And he's like, nah. I don't need any help. And she's like, oh no, but Haku said that, you'll get me a job, whatever. And he's like, no, don't need help, go away. And then she looks at all, they've got all like the little mini spider things that you said that...
Soot sprites.
Soot sprites, that's the one. It used to be like soot, and now they're the little helpers. They're throwing the rocks into the furnace.
They're well cute.
And and then one like drops the rock on himself, and then she picks it up for him and yeets it into the furnace. And then they all start dropping the rocks. It's like, oh, get a load of this. You're going to do our job for us. Yeah, lads. Yeah, let's get out of it. Let's go on a little break. And then, the boiler guy's all like, no, get back to work. So, but then Lynn comes in. In my notes, it says a woman comes in with food. But I didn't. We now know her name is Lynn. Lynn comes in, and she throws some magic stars at the spider things.
Magic stars. Like it's chocolate.
Yeah. That's like Milky Way magic stars. Sponsored. And then the boiler man tells her, Lynn, to go upstairs. She can have a job interview with the witch. And then she gives... Doesn't he do it? He gives her like a stick, like an animal and like a stick, doesn't he? He's like, take her upstairs and you can have this. And it's like... delicious.
Like a lizard.
Are they really that deprived of food that they have to be like bargaining with it? Because I get the sense that they're treated fairly. You know what? Saying that.
Nah.
Like they never seem to complain about a lack of food. There always seems to be food around.
I think again, if you go off this idea that the tower represents like capitalism and how everyone's overproductive to the sake of only the one person right at the top. It doesn't really feed back down. All your worth is based on how productive you are, which is why she has to get a job in the first place. Otherwise, the witch won't even see her. You know, she has to get a job first. She has to be productive. And then Yubaba will even acknowledge that she's a thing. Yeah, I don't know. With how much they work and with how everything works, the soot sprites work. The soot sprites aren't just there. They're workers. I do get the sense that, you know, they probably are struggling for food. I'm struggling for food. They're probably struggling for food.
I mean, I was, and then we went to Costco and bought a shit ton of it. So, yeah,
nice.
Fair enough. It's a lot of the same thing because
basically you're stockpiling.
Well, we're not the essentials. Man's running out of toilet paper, but that's just England, isn't it?
Who isn't at this point?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. So she gets the job interview. The boiler man's like, here, have one of these stick things. She's like, come on then, let's take you upstairs. And then they get followed by that, like, radish thing. I'm sure, did someone say radish?
The radish spirit.
Is it a radish?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it? Right, okay, so that's good. Because I've got in my notes that it says radish. Anyway, they get followed by the radish. And the frog, is it the foreman?
Yeah.
It's the foreman, isn't it? Smells the human. But it's all good because currency is food. So she's like, ooh, waving it in his face, and he's like, nom nom. But she like fucking fucks him off and eats it in front of him, and he's well annoyed. But yeah, anyway, so the radish helps her get to the top floor, and then he pushes her out the lift, and he's like, all right, go on.
He seems nice.
With leaving her together. He does.
He definitely spots her.
Really threatening,
he like pretends he doesn't see her, but he definitely spots her.
Oh, 100%, yeah. That was the thing. I thought this was going to be a threat when I first saw him, but no, he's a nice guy. He's chill. He just wants to be bathed, but he's helping the workers out. You know, maybe it'll leave a good tip. You know what I mean? Who knows? So she goes up to the top floor. It's all like gold and it's shiny and it's like gold and shiny. Yeah, it's like, oh man, I'm so rich. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't know. You know. And then, so she goes to open the door, but the door bullies her instead. And then all of a sudden, she's like dragged through all the doors. And it's like, but there's like a single shot, isn't there? Where like she does the witch goes like or something.
Yeah,
it's like magic.
There's some horrible shots in this of like where Yubaba like floats over to Chihiro with like ridiculous speed, and then where she lands, the entire frame is just like Yubaba's face, and then Chihiro's like here in the like really tiny, and it's really like grim. It's horrible. I love it. I absolutely adore it, but it's unnerving.
It really is. See, in my notes, my very first interaction with her, this is the note. It says, suddenly the door opens and she's dragged through some corridors and into the office of an old woman with a massive head and a nicotine addiction. Don't know why I've said that. Does she? I assume she does something like smoking related.
I'm pretty sure she smokes.
I think she smokes as well, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go then. She's got nicotine addiction. As everyone who smokes does, I guess. So Yubaba, right, in my notes, it just says the witch, because I didn't actually figure out her name until after I finished watching the film. So I now know that her name is Yubaba. So Yubaba tells her that she has no job, and then this massive fucking baby appears, which came as no surprise to me at this point, because the rest of the film's so fucking weird.
You've been
I was like,
numbed to it, yeah.
I was like, this foot comes through and it's a baby foot. I'm like, alright, okay, fair. And then the Shrek heads appear as well. They're jumping like. Are they like something? Are they like? Is there like a Japanese?
There's got to be.
I think there is. Yeah,
there must be.
But I don't really know
all
much
of
about
these
it.
things are like spirits or something that's in Japanese culture.
Yeah.
I assume,
So Japan has this thing. Miyazaki, I've spoken about it. He says, look, our generation don't really ascribe to it, but like 2 generations ago, spirituality was a really big thing in Japan, and everything had a spirit. That's why like the soot sprites were a thing. So there was like the spirit of your house, but there was like the spirit of the fireplace and the windows and the trees, and everything had its own spirits. And the idea was, if everything you are and have and own is something that you worship, you're obviously going to be respectful of it and be a good citizen because of that. It's kind of the idea.
Well, see, it makes like our culture is really boring in comparison.
Yeah, it really does.
Because we're like, oh yeah, I'm British.
We've got 2 things. We burnt witches who weren't really witches. They were just innocent.
And then we started doing it in America, and then they stole it. So.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. The other thing was colonialism. That's our 2 things, and we're not really proud of either of them.
No, we're not. Our thing is that we had an empire as well. It's a bit not great, not a part of our history that I'm that proud of, honestly.
Nope.
I'm sure we did good things. You know what? I don't.
No, we didn't. No,
I can't imagine we did any good things. Ugh, Britain. And we're not even doing that good today. Anyway, let's. So the baby appears, and then the old woman. No, Yubaba. I know her name now. Yubaba gives her a job, and she says. She signs away her name, essentially, doesn't she? And gives her a name. Her name's now Sen. I'm going to refer to her as Sen for the rest of the episode, as I do in my notes. I actually have, in my notes it says, I also found out what her name was up until this point. This is the moment where I found out her name was Chihiro. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's now Sen, so I'm going to carry on calling her Sen. I also found out the woman's called Lin as well at this point.
Do you know what's weird? Is apparently the name Sen comes from one of the characters in her name, like the actual kanji. It can also just be pronounced as Sen, so that's why she removes like half of it and leaves one there, and then says that's Sen. And I just find that weird. It's just something about Japanese characters that is fascinating, because like, how can one shape be read 2 ways? That doesn't make sense to me. I know our language is also fucked, but yeah.
That's weird.
I suppose kind of like how the words there, and there are all written differently.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's right? The one that I would get to me when I was learning English. What am I like on about thing? I mean, like in school, it's when you have like the same word used to describe different things. Boy, they're so unrelated, and I can't think of an example off the top of my head. And what's the other one? The one that Americans don't have, where it's like, it's the same word next to each other or something. No, I can't think of it. English language is fucked anyway, like you said. But yeah, what did I say? Right, yeah, here we go. So, so he gives her a job, doesn't he? And she is this where Haku comes in as well? He does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Takes her downstairs. Tells her that she should refer to him as Master Haku. Again, in my notes, I didn't know his name. So from this point in my notes, I refer to him here as Master Geezer.
I think I'm gonna call him like nonce or something, like saying that she's got to call him master.
Nonce. Master Nonce.
Haku's not a nonce.
Well, no, it is Master Geezer. We'll call him Master Geezer. So the older one tells Master Geezer to give Sen, give her a job, an actual job, something to do. So he takes her down to the kitchen and like bins her off to Lin. That's the other thing as well, really quick. I forgot to mention it. Up until this point, Lin has been like such a bitch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's so.
She's been like, oh god,
Yeah.
I can't be bothered dealing with her. And I'm like, what the fuck? Chill out, man. Chill out. But then obviously they go into a side room, don't they? It reveals Lin is not actually a bitch. It was all a ruse. So she takes Sen to the bedroom, gets her a uniform, and Lin also informs her that Master Geezer is not to be trusted. That he's the apprentice of the witch. He's a knobhead apparently.
A nonce.
So
Hey!
yeah, oof. So anyway, Haku's going. We cut then to Haku going up some stairs, venturing up this tower, and at the top, the old woman turns into like a massive bird. Do we ever find out where she's going at this point? Is she just leaving? Is she just fucking off? She's like,
Did we find out? I can't remember.
Maybe she's going to a fella. Who fucked her to give her that baby?
Oof.
maybe.
Someone big, I assume.
Oof.
Big baby.
She's just
Oh,
there
God,
grappling
Jesus.
the penis.
Oh god, Jesus.
Like her head is already like 5 times the size of me, and that dick is
This
even
isn't an image.
bigger.
This isn't an image that I want. Honestly, I don't want.
She's moving herself up and down.
Nope.
Like a bush baby clinging to a tree.
Oh god. I'm not. I'm not.
Those
gonna do
fucking
this.
eyes.
Oh god. You know what it'd be like? Oh, you know, I'm not. No, I hate it. No, I don't like it.
Oh, good God, I'm scarred.
But, oh god. Anyway, yeah. So she turns into a bird, and we never find out why she turns into a bird, where she's going. But so obviously the eagle head, the eagle with the human head appears. So Beth had some further comments on this scene,
Go on.
and I'll quote it again. So she turns into the bird, flies away. Once again, Beth pauses the film, turns to me and goes, "Oh, now she's a bird as well. I could deal with the mini Shrek heads, but now she's a bird too. It's too much." And then plays again. So, yeah. It's this bird. She really didn't like this bird. It creeped her out.
That's why she's got like a phobia of birds.
Maybe.
That she didn't even
who
realise.
knows? Or maybe she just doesn't like, birds with human heads.
I mean, that's terrifying.
It's
I can see
imagine
why.
waking up and seeing that outside your window, just something like that, staring
Like
you in
your
the
balcony,
eye.
just like
Oh yeah, just sitting on my balcony, like, you know, how you doing? Like throwing something
chirp,
at it,
chirp,
trying to get it
bitch.
away. Man, you know what though? It's actually genuinely, a pigeon landed on my balcony, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing out there?" And like, I was legit throwing like, I didn't want to like throw actual things at it to harm it, so I was like ripping bits of paper and like scrunching them up and just going like near it to try and get it to like scare it away. Was having none of it. It was just looking at me. It's like, yeah, fuck off. It eventually flew away, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, the morning falls on the town and Sen's crying in bed like she's done for 90% of this film, and the Master Geezer comes in and tells her to meet him on the bridge so he can take her to her parents. She gets her shoes from the mini spiders and heads up to the bridge. Once they get there, the No Face he's there again, isn't he? He's like, oh, he's not moved at all. He's just chilling. See, this is the thing with this scene as well. He keeps disappearing and then reappearing again.
Yeah.
And then once he's in the bathhouse, he stops doing that. Is like a reason for it, or
I get the sense that No Face is a character that a more firmer script would have definitely benefited from. Again, he's a very thematic character, but I don't think any of those themes were ever like truly realized.
See,
it means if you really want to play the metaphor card, you can go wild with it, but I don't think that's an intentional thing. I think that's more just it wasn't fleshed out enough. Well,
this is the thing with him, right? So, I I mean, he's the thing. That image of the ghoul, not the ghoul, like the ghost with the black cloak or whatever, and the mask. That's the thing from this that I recognise. Like I've seen that before because everyone's seen that. And I actually quite liked like the thing that he does, the sound he makes when he's like offering. It's so weird.
It's really weird, isn't it? It's very feeble. It's like
help me. And
It's really weird. Like it creeps me out, but at the same time, I wasn't creeped out.
But it's creepier later when he gets a new voice.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know. I mean, I liked it. That was cool. But I was like, weird. Anyway, so obviously they go to the pig pen, and the mum and dad are having a nap, and she tells them not to eat too much or they'll get fat. But she yells it at the camera, and it stressed me out.
You need to do something, you're gonna get fat!
Yeah, I was like, she yelled, and I was like, what? Fucking hell. It stressed me out. And then she goes outside and cries again. And then Haku tells her that he forgot his name. And that's why why he's stuck there? Because he can't remember his name, so it's like a...
Yubaba owns him because she took his name,
Yeah, so if she forgets her own name, she's going to be stuck there as well.
So I read a thing that I can't remember being in the movie, but does that get clarified later by the plot when we find out what he really is? Because I read something and I was like, I don't remember that being in the movie.
What, his name or
so
saying?
I guess I'll just jump ahead because we assume you've watched the movie anyway because we're spoiling it in full.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, he turns out to be a river, right?
He does.
The river in question was built. They built houses on it.
She does say that.
In the film. So that's the idea that like the capitalism bought the land that was the river. So the spirit that's within it has to now belong to Yubaba, who's essentially the spirit of capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I couldn't remember that bit being clarified. I remember reading like the houses being built on top of it, and I was like, was that in the movie? But I must just missed it.
Yeah, she does say that they built they drained it and put apartments on it and stuff in the film.
Fair.
But yeah, no. So they, she says he tells the whole thing. Don't forget your name, and then they go back to the bathhouse, and he turns into a dragon and flies away. I didn't see that happen, and I spoke to Jacob, and Jacob also didn't see that happen.
I saw it happen, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, fair enough. I was looking away, but I mean, I know that it did happen. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but like the fact that both me and Jacob missed it, don't know why, but we did. But yeah, turns into a dragon. Because the thing with him, he was telling me he didn't realize until later on when he comes back as the dragon that was still Haku. He just thought it was a dragon. And then he finds it was Haku. He's like, what the fuck is a dragon? And then I was like, is it earlier in the film? See it happen? Like,
I do feel like this movie, a lot of Ghibli movies have this, but this movie more than any, potentially just, it's constantly throwing new shit at you. And if you're willing to enjoy it, which I very much was, like this whimsy fairy tale, then it's great and fun. But I feel like if you've got much less of a tolerance to that, it's like, no more, no thank you. The three heads could do. Big baby could do. Little boy dragon, too far. You know what I mean?
There's a point where you get to, you're like, nah, not taking it anymore. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so we cut to the boiler room, and the boiler room guy wakes up and sends her sleep on the floor, and he covers her up like a nice granddad. And everyone wakes up and they start the work day. Sen goes outside to get rid of the water, and she sees No Face outside, and she assumes, naturally that he's a customer, so she leaves the door open for him. But like the way he walks in, shit's going down. You're like, I don't reckon he's meant to be in here. He's outside for a reason. The way they do it,
I kind of love the weird little like normal human leg they animate just coming underneath the cloak just a bit.
Yeah,
it's weird,
and his hands as well. His hands are weirdly not like obviously when he eats the frog, he has the frog stuff.
Yeah,
but like later on, when he's doing the stuff, he's got human hands again, but they're like black, and it's like he's wearing gloves. It's cool. But yeah, anyway, so they're made to clean that like really filthy bath, aren't they, for like the extra
people.
And Lane instructs Sen to go and get bath tokens from the foreman.
Yeah.
So they can like fill the bath and soak all the grime or whatever. But the performer's being a prick, so No Face appears, like fucking nicks some of the nicks her a bath token, and she runs off with it. So he nicks one off, and she gets the bath token, heads back to where Lynn is still like scrubbing this massive bath. She sticks the thing in the wall, doesn't it? Goes up, and they get water, and it's really nice water, and it starts soaking. So they fill the bath, and then No Face appears with a bunch of other cards that he's stolen, but she tells them she doesn't need them, and like fucks off again. Suddenly everyone starts going like mad because what is this? Because they call it a stink spirit.
Stink
don't they?
spirit,
It's
yeah.
that. I know that it's something else later on, but that's what it is when it comes in, and apparently it's stinks. It comes into the bathhouse and stinks up the place. It's making all the food like all rotten, and it turns the water into like sludge when she gets into it. It gets into it. So Sen decides to use, like before when they were soaking the bath, to use the water as like a shower. So she gets one of the tokens that No Face gave her, sticks in the wall. And it's like shh, flows all over him. It's well nice. It's like, oh man, bet man's having a good bath.
See, I think this is why. So one of my readings of No Face, he is someone that greatly desires, potentially even needs to just have some sort of affirmation and confirmation and validation from someone else, from any one other person.
Yeah.
And he gets that via giving things to people. With Chihiro, what he receives in that is not someone who's selfish at all. She is entirely selfless. Everything she is doing is for the benefit of someone else. Her ultimate goal is to help her family, make them not pigs anymore. So when she takes the big mass of tokens, it doesn't affect No Face because she doesn't do it to benefit herself. She does it specifically to help the stink spirit. Everyone else who takes something from him is taking it selfishly, and
like the gold and stuff.
He devours them because they have, I think, a similar selfish desire that he has. Even if his desire to just be liked and accepted isn't that bad, it's entirely self-centered. So he just continues to devour more and more self-centered people. But he can't ever devour her. That's my reading of him anyway.
Well, I mean, it's more of a reading than I got, I suppose.
They're like yin and yang.
Yes.
There you go.
Nice. But yeah, anyway, she's giving her a shower, and she sees something sticking out the side of him. She assumes it's like a thorn or something, but then she pulls it out, and then this whole mess of crap comes flowing out of him as everyone else starts pulling onto it. And does anyone know what inspired this scene? Because there was actually something that inspired the scene. I don't know if anyone saw it.
Pollution.
I was gonna say.
The thing, pollution led to the inspiration. So it's based on something that actually happened to the director? What's he?
Miyazaki.
Yes, I got it right again. So before he made this film, he helped drain a lake and to clear all the crap from it. And when in real life, and when he was doing that, they found so much random crap in the bottom of this lake. So it was things like bikes and just basically what happens when she pulls the thing out in this. You know what I mean? So that's what inspired this, is that when they were clearing that lake and they found all kinds of random trash just thrown into the lake, this is what inspired this scene. Everything comes out and the spirit transforms into an old man head, and it's got a water dragon thing that comes behind him.
Creepy, man.
Yeah, and it flies out of the bathhouse, but it gives her the gift, doesn't it? The green ball thing.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, what's that? Bit grim. But she assumes... Yeah, well, yeah. I'm like, alright. Everyone's cheering for her, honestly. Because isn't he was he a river spirit? Is that
He's a river spirit as well,
yeah. So it is all the stuff that's been left into it and thrown into his river or whatever, and she's helps get it all out. I feel bad for anyone who has to clean up that crap though. Jesus Christ. What do they do? They just dump it over the side, do you reckon? That doesn't sound right. Anyway, so
just creating another river spirit.
Exactly, yeah. But it's not their problem because they don't. Well, it will be when he comes into the bathhouse. More customers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about creating
more profit. Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. See, there you go. I'm sure other companies do that too by dumping their crap everywhere. So it transforms into an old man and it goes away. Everyone's cheering because they made a shit ton of money because the guy had the gold in him as well, and the witch is well happy. And then it's that shot and like No Face is sitting like in the corner. And he looks really sad, and it's like, oh mate, what's wrong? You okay? I'll give you a hug. Don't worry about it. And then so. It then cuts, and her and Lane are on the balcony thing, aren't they? They're like eating dumplings and stuff. And she has this like the greens thing in her hand, and her natural reaction is to eat some of it. What?
It's come out of another living creature.
Yeah,
I'm going to eat it.
It's like that looks delicious. And then she eats it, and obviously it's disgusting because look at it. You know what I mean? But she's fine. It doesn't poison her or give her food. She doesn't get food poisoning off it or whatever. But so she eats her actual food instead. Is it in this scene that we find out that the train is the only way out of the spirit land as well?
Yes.
Someone says that, don't they? Or
the train it runs underneath them. They look down and see.
Yeah, because Lynn says, doesn't she, that she's hoping one day to be on the train. Like leaving or something like that.
Yeah, you learn about how hard it is to get the tickets for it.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we go back to the actual like bathhouse, and that dickhead frog from the beginning of the film that made her lose her breath reappears, and he finds No Face like chilling in the bath, like, and he starts giving him gold, and then he accepts the gold and he eats the frog, like you said before, Sam. It's a metaphor for capitalism or something. And then another guy shows up. One of the
eating the rich. People. That's what it is.
Yeah, see, there you go. It's like kind of Robin Hood, except he eats them. Zombie Robin Hood, we'll say.
Whoa! Give Hollywood 5 more years. 2025 zombie Robin Hood.
To, like,
I'm calling it.
I wouldn't be surprised if you go back to like 2012 and that exists somewhere.
It might.
Probably. Anyway, she eats that other guy, but just before he eats him, he's got like the frog legs and he's adapted. It's like Venom or something. It's like in Venom, he like adopts whatever he eats. It's like, oh, he's got a voice now, and it's really creepy. It gobbles him up, and then
he gets hair as well. Where does he get the hair?
He does, yeah. He gets the hair, doesn't he? It's really weird behind the mask. It's so strange. But yeah, I have here in my notes. Maybe this is set on the planet Venom comes from, and No Face is Venom, and this is secretly a prequel to Venom. What the fuck?
Like, Life. Do you remember that? That Life? Ryan Reynolds movie?
That was 100% a sequel to Venom, let's be honest. It was.
That was like, I reckon they leaned into that with the marketing, as soon as that theory started to become a thing.
Like, as soon as I watched it, I was like, oh my god, that was Venom. But yeah, it's a prequel to Venom, apparently, according to my notes. I don't remember my thinking behind that. Who knows? So anyway, she takes the green ball thing to... she takes it to her parents, doesn't she? And she informs them that it's a gift from the River Spirit. I don't know how she knows that.
Well, he literally gave it to her. She was present for it.
But... yeah, I suppose. But then, isn't it something like she can't remember which one her parents are? Yeah. But then she wakes up, so was that sequence a dream, or was that something happened, and then did it just cut then to her waking up?
I read it as a nightmare.
Oh, so it was a nightmare. Okay, so let's just assume it's a nightmare. It could be either way. Oh, no, because she knows her parents are... No, it doesn't matter, it was a nightmare. So anyway, she gets up and Lynn informs her that there's a new guest who's, giving out gold like it's nothing, and it's No Face. When they go down, it's No Face. He's like stuffing his face, isn't he? And he's like throwing gold out of his hands to everyone. Sen decides she doesn't like free money, so she goes back up to the balcony where she sees, as I've called him in my notes, Dragon Boy Master Geezer.
He's getting more pronouns.
Yeah, he's gonna... Eventually, his real name's gonna come in, but we'll see when it is. But obviously, you know, it's him. He's flying around. He's getting chased by a bunch of paper aeroplanes, and he crashes into the room. When she tries to save him, he's like bleeding and stuff, isn't he? Because he's got all the cuts all over him. And she tries to close the door, but like all the planes start going shh on the door and like wrap her up as well. But she doesn't get paper cuts apparently. Or does she? No, she doesn't. Does
No,
she?
she doesn't. Yeah,
No.
I did think that this was a gratuitous amount of blood.
Yeah.
These Ghibli movies keep getting away with very lax ratings from the BBFC, despite being really violent and really gory.
Yeah, he was like, there's a bit later on where like coughs up blood. Like, come on, man, it's a bit much. I mean, it might be in this bit. He might cough up blood here. Anyway, he crashes in, doesn't he? And he's covered in blood, and she tries to save him. But then one of the paper airplanes, you know, chilling, doesn't she doesn't notice it. But he flies away, flies up to a higher room, and she's like, this is one of those moments I was on about before, where they have to say what's happening because they're afraid American audience won't get it. So she goes, he's in the higher room or something like that. It's like something like, I have to get to him like that. I'm like, all right. So she needs to go upstairs before he bleeds out. So she runs to the stairs where all the staff are like lined up, waiting for like No Face to come past, because man's a rich boy, and he's like one was like doo doo, you know, like proper like coming down like hey. And he stops when Sen like thanks him for helping her like the previous day with the bath tokens, and he offers her the handful of gold, which she rejects and runs off. At this point, I've put in my notes. Also, No Face has legs, frog legs now, because I noticed it at this point as well. Anyway, yeah. So he kicks off, doesn't he? Because Sen won't accept his gift, and he eats the foreman and another unfortunate animal. He just so happens to be standing by.
Yeah.
And he's kicking off. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's a bad spirit!" Doing that stuff. Sen plays Assassin's Creed on the side of the building and tries to get up to Haiku. But then she goes into the baby.
You can almost imagine, can't you? Like if that was a video game on the pipe, how it would tell you to like wiggle the stick back and forth, like as she loses balance.
It would.
God,
Yeah.
it would be unbearable.
And then she would fall, but the camera would stay in the same place. So you just watch your character fall, and it would just fade to black and come up. You died or something like that. That's what would happen. Reset. And then you'd spawn right back at the beginning of the fucking balcony or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh. Anyway, yeah. Oh God. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Cool. My mic dropped. It's fine.
That sounded really weird.
Yeah. So she manages to get up, but she finds herself in the baby's bedroom. And she hears the witch, so she's hiding, and she hears the witch say that he's gonna bleed out and die anyway, so they just gotta get rid of him.
Yeah.
And the head's pushing him down that hole, so just like get him out. He's gonna bleed all off my floor. And then we also find out we see it earlier on, but I remember to put it in my notes that that one paper airplane that's stuck around is like attached to her, and it's following her essentially. So the witch comes into the baby's room, and Sen hides in the pillows. And we then find out the witch is also, that the baby's in there as well. And you're like, oh, she's in there as well. And then the big baby like grabs her and tries to blackmail her into like playing with it, but like she gets away from it essentially.
Long story short, it's a bit awkward. It's a bit weird.
It is. Yeah,
I felt like Sen in the scene where she's just desperately trying to get away from it.
She's like, no, please, no, thank you. We also find out as well the reason it's always in there is because the mum's afraid of it like catching something. That the world's full of germs or something as well.
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
Topical.
Oh,
shit, man. You know what I've just realised? This podcast can never be monetized now. Apparently that's a bad word.
Oh, right. Oh, well, there you go. See?
Fuck.
No money coming our way. Oh well.
All right, so we get as many cunts as we want in this episode now. I've doomed it anyway.
Swear as much as we want. It's all good. Like
Master Cunt Dragon Geezer.
There you go. Oh man. God. Right, here we go. Yeah. So she gets away from the baby, doesn't she? And she's never left the room because it's full of germs. And I've lost my plate. Yeah. So Sen shows her dirty hands, doesn't she? She's like, you dickhead. Yeah. Shows her the hands and she lets go. The thing the baby was threatening, right, was she was going to cry really loud and alert the witch. Why does she not do that at this point?
She does, doesn't she? She does start crying anyway because of the dirty hands.
But yeah, the witch doesn't come back though.
Yeah,
so the thing that she was threatening her with is pointless.
This is something that would have been avoided with a script.
Yeah. It's like threatening someone with like a plastic knife or something. It's like, from the look of it,
you're like,
it looks dangerous. But like, you know what it'd be? It'd be like one of those knives that you used to have in Halloween. Wait, hold on. Back up. No, let me finish. Well, you know the way when you did the thing and it would
can stab, yeah,
the blade would go in.
Yeah.
Like, Oh man, they were well sick. The reason I had one is because I was playing Jack Sparrow. No, I was Jack Sparrow, that's the reason. I wasn't just a guy with a toy knife in Halloween. There's my context.
I mean, that's potentially the scariest thing you could be on Halloween.
Probably, yeah.
Just a guy with a knife.
Oof. Anyway. So the paper airplane comes in. Oh, I've skipped a bloody bit. Oh, God, I'm so bad at this. Sen runs into the other room, doesn't she? And all the Shrek heads are, like, pushing a dying Haku into a pit.
Yeah.
He's like spitting up blood. He's like, fucking hell, mate. And just take me to the hospital, you know what I mean? But they're like, nah. They're pushing him in. And then Sen runs over. She's like hugging him. She's moving the heads away. And then the aeroplane turns into Yubaba.
Yeah.
It's not Yubaba.
Yeah.
It's, let me get the name up. Zenbia. Zenbia?
Yeah.
Is that it? How you pronounce it?
It might be Zenibia or something like that. Yeah.
I never know how to
It's along those lines. It's her twin sister. Da-da-da-da. Big plot twist. She's got a twin sister. So, see, this is really weird because in this scene, the twin sister's a bit of a bitch as well. Like the actual witch. But then later on, she's not. It's so weird. She turns the head into the baby, doesn't she? And she turns the actual baby into that little purple mouse thing.
Cutest thing ever.
And
with like a moon face.
Yeah, and then she turns the eagle into that little fly. And it's always carrying the mouse around.
Isn't it like a little tiny like sparrow or something? It's like a little bird. Sure, it has a beak.
All right.
The thing is, I want to make it absolutely clear that what you just described happened within the space of about 3 seconds. From the paper plane turning into what looks like Yubaba to the very last thing you described happened so fast. And you know what? So, I told you all about how I had to watch Princess Mononoke in 2 parts, right? And the second part was drastically worse than the first part, and it kind of affected the whole viewing experience. I almost... Thankfully, I like Spirited Away a lot more than Princess Mononoke. But I had this horrible moment of, right? I was watching the movie, I was enjoying the movie, and I quickly needed to go upstairs to sort something. And Charlotte was upstairs, so I paused it just before the plane is about to come out of the floor, right? And I was like, I came up to Charlotte and I was like, this is a really good movie. I really like this movie. I feel like, you know what? I know I said that about Princess Mononoke, but I really think this is a good movie. And I want you to watch it at some point. And I went downstairs and I hit play. And that sequence of event happened. And my mouth dropped. I was like, no!
Not again.
I can never pause one of Miyazaki's movies ever. It's always going to go drastically wrong afterwards.
Do you ever, right, you know what I'm picturing you doing, right? Do you ever remember that like meme format where it was the husband and the wife? And the husband's like, oh, like that on the edge of the thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's wrong? And then he says it, and then it's both of them going like, oh, fuck. Like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining you doing. Just on the edge of the couch going, ah.
I found
That's the format I'm
precisely.
There
there was a little bird.
Oh yeah, look at. I didn't realize the little like mouse thing was like a bum chin. It's weird.
It's like a hippo, like a mouse hippo.
Is it? Yeah, but it's really round and curved.
Yeah.
It's like anyway. But yeah, so you find out that the reason the aeroplanes were chasing Haku as the dragon was because he was going around stealing some magic bars from people. The twin. He was stealing it from her. So she's like, no, come back. Give me that back. Chased him back to the bathhouse. That's why she's there now. But she's like a ghost, so she's not actually there. It's like at the end of the last Jedi, when Luke's not really there, but she doesn't have a heart attack in this one. And die. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, she like pulls him down the thing that they fall down the hole. And he's flying around, and they end up in the boiler room, and he's like dying, and it's something like, he's dying, and then he like spits up the gold bar, doesn't he? But it's wrapped in the thing that we then find out is the thing that Yubaba put inside Haku. It's like a
slug
black goo. Yeah, it's like a slug. It's like when you play BioShock and you've put the slugs into the little sisters.
Adam.
And you can have the choice. Yeah. Yeah, no, but it's a slug, isn't it? And they get the Adam from the sea slugs and put... Anyway, and if
you're not wrong, but I love the jump that you've made.
No, but this is what I was saying. Like, if you choose the bad options in BioShock, then they turn into slugs, and you're a dickhead.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what was weird about that? I know this is dangerous, getting you talking about BioShock, but BioShock is not that much harder by picking all the good options. You know what I mean? Like you should.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be a lot more challenging to be a good person than it actually is. But that's a side thing.
It's like when you play like Fallout 3 and you can actually be an evil bastard, and everyone hates you. That's an entirely different podcast though. So, but yeah, so she gets the slug, and then he's not controlled by Yubaba anymore, but he's still dying. So she's like, she's gonna, the evil twin's gonna want to kill him, so I'll take the gold bar back. And then the Boiler Man gets out some train tickets that he's been saving for 40 years. It's a one-way ride though. Poor guy, he's gonna be stuck in this bathhouse for the rest of his life. The thing is, right, why was he saving them? What was he saving them for?
For a special something.
But it's a one-way ticket. Yeah, it's like...
I guess he was like... Maybe he was waiting for like him to have a little friendship group. Because he had like 5 of them.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
That's such a sad thought. Oh, and I'm going to move on for it because it's really sad. He's like, I'm not going friends now, but I will one day. So I'll wait until I'm a Largo. Go on a trip. It's fine. That's so sad. Anyway, so moving on from that really sad moment, Sen heads back upstairs, doesn't she, with the ticket. She's like, I'm going to return this bar. But everyone's really pissed off upstairs because she let No Face in. And No Face is being like a greedy prick, eating all the food and trashing the rooms. When Sen finally shows up, she tells him she's not interested in the gold, and she gives him the green ball medicine thing.
Yeah.
She's in the previous scene, she's given half of it to Haku, and that's the reason he spits up the gold bar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we know that it's medicine, and that it cures him. So she gives it the other half to No Face. And he eats it straight away, and he's all gets really ill, starts throwing everything up. It's really grim. And he's like, what the fuck did you eat to give me? Like, poisoning me, essentially. But anyway, Sen leaves the room, and No Face chases after her.
What's worse, being eaten by a giant monster and being digested, or being eaten by the giant monster and being fully conscious and then being thrown up by it?
That's a good question. You know what? Probably, like, it depends how long it takes to be digested. Like, if you look in Star Wars, the Sarlacc pit, 1,000 years, that's a long time.
That is a long time.
It happens in, like, 20 minutes. Like, I don't know that... if I'm fully conscious, I'm just chilling in there, I don't know I'm ever getting out. But if I'm gone within 20 minutes, then I'm gone within 20 minutes. I'm not going to have to worry about it.
To be sat there, like, aciding away and, like...
Yeah, but I mean...
Oh, no.
If it's 20 minutes from the start you're eating to 20 minutes where you're fully digested, you must, like, die at some point within that process. You're not going to be alive the full 20 minutes. I mean, that's, again, a whole different thing, so... but yeah. Yeah, so it makes him ill, and he starts throwing everything back up. And he chases her around the thing, doesn't he? There's a bit in it that it made me laugh. It's like right just before she leaves, she runs down a corridor, And he's like wandering around like that. He's slowing down a bit because he's losing, like, he's a bit ill. And he just passes someone and goes like, "Oh, sorry." He says like, "Right, excuse me," and just walks by him. It's like a single line, and it's just so casual. He's like, "Oh, excuse me a sec," and then walks around. It's so random. I'm like, it made me laugh. But yeah, so the chase scene through the bathhouse. And then, Sen is like slipping and sliding all over the place while No Face is like cannonballing his way through. He's throwing up, he's smashing doors, he's just, being a general nuisance. And Sen makes it outside. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sen finds it outside. Sen makes it outside and finds Lin chilling in like a bucket, waiting for her. And she's gonna take her to the train tracks. By this point, No Face is like throwing up all the stuff. He's thrown up the 2 big people that he ate before, like all the people. And he does eventually obviously throw up that little frog as well. And he loses his frog appearance and goes back to his nice, normal spirit appearance. He dolphin dives off that pipe to follow Sen in the water. And
he kind of looks a bit like a knob.
I mean, he does a bit. I'll give you that.
He's just perfectly round.
He does. I mean, I'll give you that one. He does. Yeah. So,
just a thought.
So Lynn drops Sen off at the tracks, and she walks along them with.
That's a Halloween costume. The tower from Spirited Away, and you just put a little cloak on your knob.
Oh no! Don't! Oh no! Just a pipe under
I
as well.
I got a Halloween costume earlier. You guys are not ready for this. I'll try and find it.
Oh,
I don't know if I am.
Okay, look, you ready?
Is that from like Wish or something? That's atrocious.
There's something weirdly threatening about it. It's like you know what kind of vibes I get from that. That's like looking in the doorway and seeing your little brother being like, "Mum said it's my turn on the Xbox." That's what I'm seeing in that picture. Just seeing that in
I feel like I want to wear that and have a lightsaber and go as a Sith No Face to your thing.
Nice.
Oh man, paint the eyes yellow. Just like yellow dots in the middle. That'd be amazing. That's a Halloween costume right there. But yeah. So Spirited Away. They go back to the Lynn takes her to the train tracks, and she walks up the train tracks, and No Face, catches up to her. The train arrives, and all of them get on the train. And this is the scene. This is the one scene in this whole film that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Like I recognize that shot of her sat on the train with like No Face next to her. Yeah, and I assume this is why when the film started and I realized it wasn't actually in the real world, I was surprised. I was like, I've seen that shot. I assumed that this film was about a girl with like a ghost that follows her or something, or like an imaginary friend or something like that. And then obviously it's not. But
there's something about Miyazaki who's got an incredible way to take a mundane, normal activity and create really iconic shots and scenes out of it. Because I'm very much the same. Like, minus my terrible viewing experience with this movie as a child, it was always No Face sat on the train. Similar to Everyone Knows My Neighbor Totoro for standing in the rain with the umbrella. There's nothing interesting about that, but everyone knows it. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean, like, because I was surprised. When I saw it, I was like, oh, it's this bit. And actually, it's actually the shot, isn't it, that the Netflix uses when you click on it for the first time, when you go onto Netflix. So, yeah.
Iconic shot. But yeah, they got on the train, don't they, and all the ghosts are, like, reading the newspaper. And this is where, actually, when I was first watching this is where I was beginning to wonder, like, is this meant to be, like, the land of the dead or something? Is it, like, all the people who've died have come here, but then also spirits are here as well? I mean, that's what I got from this particular bit. And that then led to me having, like, a really weird dream, like, about life after death on the same night. It's very strange.
Yo!
So, like, I wouldn't call this dream a nightmare, because it didn't really scare me. But, like, let me tell you about this dream, right? So, the context of what was going on is lost. I forgot what was going on. But all I remember is I ended up holding a shotgun. and for some reason, something happens, and I end up fighting in like a war or something with this gun, and I get shot. Just like right in the head. You know, when you're like in a game, when you shoot someone in the head, and it goes like the hit marker, and you get extra XP or something.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But I was that person.
Oh my God.
But the weird thing was, right, this was a dream. This is what happened. So, like, you know how you experience dreams? This is like real time. This is like first person, you know what I mean? I'm like, anyway, so it's like, but instead of me like waking up at that point, like people do when something bad happens in a dream, it just went black. Like, it was like, you know when you accidentally lean on your remote and you turn off the TV and it just goes off, everything just stops, and you're like, oh shit, you just turn it back on again. That's what it was like. It was well weird. But like I could hear my own voice wondering what the hell was going on.
Whoa.
As well. So I was thinking
gets
still.
deep when Miyazaki's in town. Holy
like
shit.
I was still thinking, and I was like, oh man, I could hear in my head. I was like, shit, is this it? Like, do I have to spend the rest of time looking at nothing? But then
oh my God, this is so deep.
It's so weird, yeah. And then
oh my God.
But then, right, and then I figured out that I could be a ghost, right? It's like I earned enough XP and unlocked the skill. And then next thing I know, I'm like flying around. Yeah. I'm like flying around. I'm like possessing people, and I'm like moving furniture and like turning off all the lights because like I was a ghost and I thought it'd be funny because that's what ghosts do. And then I woke up at this point, and I just woke up and I was like, damn, that was intense. And then went back to sleep because it was still the night time. So
incredible.
And that was it.
Shit.
But speaking of nighttime, while Sen and friends are on the train, the sun goes down, and the spirits embark the train, leaving just them alone. And they finally reach the stop, and they find themselves in some woods. And that lantern with a foot appears, and it leads them through the dark forest to a cottage. And right, there's a shot in this that I really want to like just appreciate. It's the wide shot. The moon's over here. You got your forest down here, and the lantern's like shining through the trees. It's only for like 2 seconds, but it's a spicy shot. You know what I mean?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Nice artwork, beautiful. So they reach the cottage, and inside is Zambia, the witch twin.
Yeah.
And she's now all of a sudden she's all nice and she's all old lady-ish, and she knits, she cooks. And she tells Sen to call her Granny, which I thought was a bit weird, but she does. They're having food, and she's saying like, I can't remember what she does. Doesn't she tell her to like remember something? What does she tell her to remember? And that's why Sen is then in the corner of the room.
I've forgotten.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic.
She tells her to remember something. I don't know if it's her name or what, because I don't think it is her name, because she knows her name. But basically, what happens is, Zimbabwe gets all of her friends to like do some knitting while she's in the corner trying to remember whatever it is, and they actually knit like a bobble for her hair, don't they? And she's like, "Oh, put this in. It's made using the cotton that your friends have weaved together. It'll protect you." She puts it in her hair.
Power
and
friendship.
Then there you go. See, and then our boy Haku shows up, and we found out in a previous scene to this that it was the power of love that saved his life. Sen's love for him.
The power
really
of
cute.
love.
I also thought that as well. I mean, we're not getting fingers, so copyright, you know what I mean? Like, the power of love.
It's a curious thing.
Make another man sing. Oh, yeah, it's great.
I think we only get copyright claimed if we're in tune. And from what we just experienced there, that might never happen.
Yeah.
So we're okay.
The bots aren't going to pick up on that. Let's just say that, so it's fine. Anyway, so Zambia, witch twin, tells Haku that she'll forgive him for stealing her gold bar if he looks after Sen. And she's saying goodbye to everyone, but she like stops No Face. She's like, "Nah, you're staying here with me, son." And he's like, I mean, he can't really say no, can he? So
you're not lying, but you gave him the same energy of, that baby that's covered in like peanut butter.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you like being covered in peanut butter?
He's just impartial to the idea. He's like, I mean, I kind of want to go with him, but I can't. So I guess I'll stay here. So he stays there. Oh man, I feel so bad for him. She's definitely going to get him to like tend that farm, isn't she? You know what I mean? He's going to be like a farm boy or something. It's so bad. I feel bad for him.
Ploughing the field, sexy like.
Oh god, she's just gonna be there watching from like the window.
No face in some fucking dungarees.
Oh god, Jesus. Eef. I mean, he could probably make the dungarees himself. Man can like have gold come out of his hands, so it's like makes them himself. They form. It's like they just come out of him like.
It makes me really uncomfortable.
No, right. Think about this though. In order for them to be dungarees, there needs to be shoulders that the strap goes over.
Yeah.
Where would the shoulders be on him? Would they just wrap around like that?
Yeah, I think
it's like a diagonal and like a triangle coming inwards. Weird.
Yes.
That's a weird image. A picture of that must exist somewhere on the internet. But yeah, so
Googling it.
Yeah. So they leave, don't they? Haku gives her a ride back to the bathhouse, and on the way back, she starts having like flashbacks of the last time she was on his back, and she remembers that he's actually the spirit of. Oh God, I should have got the way you pronounce this. Kohana? No. Oh Jesus.
While you figure it out, there is
River?
no face in dungarees, but there is no face as dungarees.
Right.
Oh, nice. I'm having some of them. Yeah. So what is it? The Haku? No. No. He's a river essentially. He's a river, as we stated before.
Yeah.
And that when she was younger, she fell into his river trying to get her like shoe back, and he saved her life by taking her to a shallow part of the river. And that's why he knew each other. And she says his name, and he turns back to human. Can he become like a dragon now? Then is he a dragon because he couldn't remember his name? Is that?
No, I reckon he can become a dragon anyway. Like because the other river spirit also was a dragon.
True. Oh yeah, true. Yeah. So does that mean the other river spirit has a human form as well? Maybe. I assume so. Yeah. There you go. So she saves his life. No, all the way around. He saves her life when she falls into the river. And she informs us that they've since drained the river and built apartments over it, and that's why Haku, couldn't find his way home. That's why he couldn't remember his name, because the river doesn't actually exist anymore. So, yeah, I really like the bit where he turns into human again. It's got all like the what things that look like glass petals going like shh. Looks really nice. I enjoy that.
It does look really nice.
So, in a previous scene to this, just before Haku actually left to come and pick up Sen, he goes up to the witch's room and informs her that the baby that she thinks is his baby isn't actually her baby. No?
Yeah. Because it's the
and
heads.
So she turns the heads back into them and she's like, oh my God, where's my baby? And Haku's like, bitch, I know. But you gotta make a deal, though. Let's make a deal. And essentially he says to Yubaba that if he can bring back her baby, that she will let Sen and her parents go. Let them free, let them go home. And she agrees, but only if Sen can complete one last task. So when they get back to the bathhouse, when Sen and Haku get back to the bathhouse, Yubaba's waiting outside. She's got like a pen of pigs. And everyone kicks off like, oh, just let her fucking go home. But Sen's like, nah, I can do this. I'll do the task. Don't worry about it. So she takes the test, and Yubaba says, right, you've got all these pigs. Which two are your parents? If you pick them right, go home. So she's looking at them. She's like, oh. And of course, none of the pigs are her parents. And she says, none of these are my parents. And the contract burns up in Yubaba's hand, and everyone's cheering. And, she's free to go home. And Haku takes her back to where the river was. Where the river was at the beginning. And he's like, go! Don't ever look back, really dramatic.
Yeah.
So she goes over, doesn't she? And her parents are shouting at her. She's like, "Where the fuck have you been?" No, it wasn't that violent, but it's like, "Oh, what's up?" But they start shouting. They have a go at her because she wandered off. They have no idea anything's happened. They're just oblivious to all of this. I don't even know if they remember eating the food. Who knows? Maybe they will still stop at Subway on the way home. Who knows? But yeah, so they head back inside, and for a brief moment, she thinks she's gonna look back, but then she's like, nah, no. She decides not to. So they head back to the car through that long tunnel, and I don't know if anyone noticed this, right? I don't know if it's intentional or what, but as they were on the way back, the shot of them going through and the mum saying, she uses the exact same line of dialogue. She says like, "Oh, don't hold me so tight or I'll trip over." It's the exact same line of dialogue at the end as it is at the beginning, because she says the exact same thing as they're going into the tunnel, but it's a reverse shot because they're walking back. It's not the same shot though, because like Sen reacts to her saying that by having like a fuck off kind of face to her, whereas at the beginning she's really like clinging onto her. But it is the same piece of dialogue.
Well, it's
really weird.
This whole thing is also a coming of age story, so I think that's just why they're using the differentiating reactions. She no longer needs her, despite being like 8 years old. She no longer needs her parents because she's grown up now.
I mean, that could I noticed it. I was like, oh my god, you said that at the beginning as well. But yeah, so they go back out, don't they? And they find the cars now covered in leaves, and it's all covered in leaves and stuff and grass, and the Thing gets really pissed off because he thinks that it's a prank.
I'd fucking forgotten that it was Michael Chiklis.
He gets well annoyed, doesn't he? And just before they get into the car, her bubble glows to remind us, that she's still got it in. Her friends will always be with her. It's really nice. And then the parents are really condescending in the car journey because they're like, I know you're scared. Don't worry about it. It's a new school. We're gonna have a good life. And she's probably just in the back like, fuck off. But then the film ends. And the one thing I will say about these is all these films, over the credits, they have the artwork, don't they? I think that's really nice.
Yeah, I think it's really nice as
well. I say reading the credits. I mean, I don't speak or I can't read Japanese, so I can't read the credits. But I can look at the artwork, so that's nice. Keep you roped in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like when you're a child, when you have a picture book. They give you picture books because you can't read.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like that, yeah.
There you go. So there you go. That was a very poorly described version of the story from Spirited Away. As if maybe someone describes the story to you in a bar when you ask them about it.
Yes, that's the energy. Yeah.
And they're still kind of drunk.
Still, yeah. Oh, they're still completely drunk, maybe.
Oh, that, yeah.
But a much longer version of that. But there you go, Spirited Away.
Nice.
Go watch it, because it's better when you watch it.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. It is really good. What we're going to do now that we've finished wrapping up the plot is we're going to go around one by one and give any final thoughts we have on the movie and give it an overall score out of 10. And then I'm going to use Matt to give an overall score out of 100 and see where it ranks to our best to worst movies of all time. I'm going to have to jump in for Jacob, who did not like this movie, who apparently had to stop this movie halfway through because he couldn't take any more, and he gave it a 5.
Uncultured.
Boo. Yeah, boo.
I mean, from what he was telling me, he told me that he had the intention of finishing the film for the purpose of the podcast. Whether he did or not, I don't know. But I know that. I mean, I don't know if he really didn't like the film, but I'm not Jacob, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll make him. We'll interrogate him next week. We'll make him answer for these crimes. Anyway, Amelia, tell us what you thought of the movie.
Yes, so Spirited Away, I think, is my favourite Ghibli film. It's the perfect introduction in my eyes to these films. It's the perfect kind of mix of wacky and zany, but they're weird, but these films are weird, but if you kind of look past that, they're really good stories and they're really fun to watch. And I don't know whether or not I love a nice connection to this film because my grandpa was actually the first one that ever showed me this film. So I went round to his house and he was like, "Oh, I've just found these really cool films. They're going to be so different to your Disney ones. Let's watch one." And we sat and watched Spirited Away. So I have this memory of seeing these boxes on his DVD shelf, and I'm like, "Whoa, what the fuck are they?" So I don't know whether it's like you say, a different kind of connection for me, but I love these films so much, and I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
10. Excellent. Joe?
Right, so this is the thing, right? When I first started watching it, I was obviously baffled, as you can tell by my notes, by what the fuck I was watching. Like, it's... But then I feel like, I don't know if you can tell how much more, because I stopped, like, halfway as I start to appreciate the film and get into the story of it. I stopped making, like, jokes about what people are doing and being like, oh, someone does this.
You're just recapping
nice.
more, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's really difficult to say because, like we said, the stories, they weren't working with a script, so when you keep that in mind, you can't really hate the story too much. Well, you can, but like not to the same extent, because the whole point of this film is that it's a very visual experience. It's like, Sam, right? Me and you were talking about Mad Max Fury Road before. Exactly the same thing. That didn't have a script either. That was just ideas, put them through. It's mostly visual, and it works really well. This is the same thing. The visuals in this, I could not tell you a single scene in this where I don't think the visuals work. It works all the way through. They know what they're doing. It's very obviously inspired by real things, and it works really well. Like I said before, there's times when I was watching it when someone said something, they were basically describing what I was looking at. But that's not on the filmmakers, that's on the people who did it.
Disney,
so I can't even... I'm not going to take any points off for that, because that's Disney. That's Disney are doing that. There are things in the story that are a bit... but again, like I said, I can't think it. So the only thing I'd say is I did actually appreciate... I liked the setting from the last film more. Because I'm biased, because I like Bioshock Infinite.
Fair.
And I like that style. So... But, it's... I don't know. The thing of it is, it's like when you watch other films, like, you finish it and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And you like it because of that.
Yeah,
you're like, oh man, that was so different.
Makes you think.
Else.
It engages you, yeah.
You're like, whoa. So I'm gonna give it an 8.
8. Excellent. I am gonna give it a full 10 as well. I adored it. I absolutely adored it. I talked earlier about having the worst possible fucking way to watch this movie the first time round in school and having it get skipped through, and I'm so glad I've given it the second shot. I can't really give it any more praise than what's already been given. As far as movies that go without a full-on script, it's definitely one of the better ones. You can see that sort of thing completely fail. No one should ever watch the second Transformers movie, which was produced while a writer's strike was going on. And it's like, if you think Michael Bay's bad when he's actually got a script, oh boy, is he bad when he doesn't, but this works. It's got like falls, but they're not detrimental. They're just kind of like, that could have been tighter. But yeah, all the animation is gorgeous, as it always is in these movies. I've got no idea how they make it on such a low budget. Absolutely baffles me. This is the best Ghibli movie I've ever seen, and potentially will ever see. It just hits all the right marks, so I have to give it a 10. So that gives us an overall score of it's a high one, 82.5, which means I have to ask us all. I have to ask us all if. Starting with you, Amelia, if you prefer... I think this is going to be difficult for me. If you prefer Spirited Away or Baby Driver?
I'm going to say Spirited Away because when I first saw Baby Driver in the cinema, I was disappointed. So going off my first initial reaction for each, I'm just going to say Spirited Away.
Fair. Joe?
Oh, God, I don't know. I reckon that... I'm going to say this because... It's just I appreciate the art, like the not that I'm not saying that they didn't put time into Baby Driver, because obviously the filmmaking process is a ridiculously hard process, but they'd had to have drawn the panels individually and for this, and to get it looking as perfect and as amazing as it did. Then I'm going to pick this, but I'll also speak for Jacob and assume that he's going to pick the other one, because he would have 100% picked Baby Driver.
Yeah, so we would have picked Baby Driver.
And 1 for Baby Driver.
Yeah, and I'm going to round it out with another for Spirited Away. I'm going to give it Spirited Away. I think, because I loved Baby Driver, and that was the film that I gave a 10 really early on. It was the number one spot for a while because of that. But if I'm being honest with you, and again, like Edgar Wright is so fucking good. I watched it last night. I stuck on The World's End for a laugh, and it's great. It's so good. His movies get better every time you watch them. There's unfortunately something that this has that Baby Driver hasn't, and this is where our objective list totally falls apart. And that is just fantasy whimsy wins me over so much more than a cool heist movie.
Yeah.
So Spirited Away is the answer, which puts it at the third greatest movie of all time.
You know what? Jacob's gonna be well annoyed by that. He's gonna have the same reaction that he did when we ranked Batman Forever really high, and he couldn't understand why we were ranking it so high.
But he's not a film student.
Down our level.
Bullying him because he's not here, so it's fine.
Yeah, you are right. He is going to be mad about that.
Jacob, it's fine.
I mean, look. At the end of the day, one of his favorite movies is still the second greatest movie of all time, right? That is still Die Hard. And that's still better than this, apparently. So, he's got that. He's at least got that. Which brings us to the most important part of the show, and that's finding out what we're going to be watching next week. Now, obviously, we've been doing this Ghibli season, and it's the very last one of the bunch. We have, I think by pure accident, been picking exclusively Miyazaki movies as well. He's not the guy who does them all the time. He's just done the most revered ones. And I could not let this season go without picking this movie. It's Miyazaki again. My Neighbor Totoro.
Ayo! What up, bitches? Yes. Okay.
I
couldn't not let it happen. It had to be Totoro.
When I was picking mine, it was either going to be that or Spirited Away, because they're the two that has things that I recognize.
Yeah.
So I just picked Spirited Away because I was like, I assume someone's going to pick the other one at some point. Forgetting that we only had one left. So you would be someone, Sam.
Yeah,
so.
I would be someone.
But,
and
I was correct.
Predictable,
I was
yes.
right. I am a psychic.
Yes, definitely. Okay, thank you very much for watching our review, discussion, whatever, of Spirited Away. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, give us a like and give us a comment and give us a subscribe as well. If you've listened to us while you're on the go, don't forget to search for us on YouTube by searching for the Outtakes Movie Podcast. And if you have watched us on video and you fancy taking us on your journey to work, podcast apps, we are available. Search for us on Twitter and Instagram at The Real Outtakes. And I think that's it. I'm getting good at this. I'm going to nail it at some point. All right. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye. Oh, I can't wait.